The healthcare system can feel like a maze of closed doors and hidden secrets, but you don't have to navigate it alone. This is the Clinical Watchdog, unraveling the mysteries of modern medicine so you can take back your power. I went to the doctor's office already knowing that I was obese, 5'7", overweight. I was having a bladder issue, urinating frequently at night, and the snoring was terrible. I already knew from a prior diagnosis that I had moderate to severe sleep apnea. Before they called me in, they checked my height and weight. I knew I was 5'7", but seeing those numbers, 212, I was filled with dread. For so long, I fought to stay under 200 pounds, and here I am, above it. I felt defeated, overwhelmed by insecurity, not feeling attractive, feeling disgusting, and honestly, depressed. I stood in that hallway feeling completely broken and ashamed. In the waiting room, I couldn't stop thinking about that number. The tension was building inside of me. Honestly, I didn't even want to stay. Part of me wanted to leave and not hear what the doctor had to say. I didn't want to face how far I had fallen or the lectures I expected to hear. But realizing leaving wasn't the solution, I waited. I waited until I was finally called into the office. When the door closed, I discussed everything. I let him know I had a prior diagnosis of moderate to severe sleep apnea from a test 5 years ago. But I told him the truth. I no longer had the documents. He asked if I tried the CPAP machine. I told him I could not stand it. It was uncomfortable. I couldn't breathe in it. Instead of helping me rest, it made everything worse. It didn't even help the snoring, so he suggested trying a medicine. At first he said Ozempic, but I told him I did not want that. So then he suggested the tirzepatide, and he ordered blood work, the A1C, the hemoglobin, the CMP, the lipids, and the iron TIBC. But again, before the results were even on his desk, he already prescribed me Mounjaro. As I was waiting for that, a few days later I was told to check the pharmacy for the Mounjaro. I went in. It was not there. They told me to contact the office. I contacted them and they said the wrong diagnosis had been put in because it will not be approved for obesity or sleep apnea. They told me to call back in a day or two. I called back 2 days later. Now they say they are trying to get approval for Wegovy. They said they were waiting for the blood work results. The following week, that is when I found out the results. Another wave of dread hit me. I had type 2 diabetes. I had high cholesterol. Things were just getting worse, and I felt like I was losing control. It was bad enough coming to terms with being obese and having sleep apnea, even though the doctor never ordered a sleep test. But now, I find out I have type 2 diabetes and high cholesterol. The two things that killed my father. Seeing those words on the portal felt like a death sentence. I had an even worse feeling of dread. I was terrified that his history was becoming my reality. I spoke with the office and they said they'd put in for metformin and rosuvastatin calcium. They put that into the portal and it still said Wegovy. It said it would be ready at the pharmacy, so I went in, and yes, the metformin was there, the rosuvastatin was there, but the Wegovy, it was not there. Again, I had to call the office. At this point they tell me, yes, the Wegovy was not approved, but because I now had type 2 diabetes, insurance would now approve the Mounjaro. They said it would take a few days. I checked the portal later, and Wegovy was still in there. 7 weeks of this constant back and forth. 7 weeks of my health hanging in the balance. I called back. "Oh, we're working on it," they said. "We're doing our best. You should get a call from one of our pharmacists." I asked, "The pharmacist from the store or your pharmacist here?" They said, "Oh no, the pharmacy." This went back and forth for 7 weeks. This constant stress, this weight of the system pressing down on me. In the meantime, I'm taking the metformin and the rosuvastatin, hoping it's helping, but I'm still having the bladder issues, still not sleeping, still snoring. I needed to lose the weight for my life. I was trying to exercise, but the medicine just wasn't getting me there. It felt like I needed that extra thing to tie everything together. So, finally, on that 7th week, I received a call. It wasn't the pharmacist from the store. It was a call from the hospital pharmacy approval manager, the manager who approves the pharmacy for the hospital. And that call she gave me changed everything.